There are women who seem untouchable. They smile calmly, look at you with confidence, and yet deep down, they're waiting for a man who can shake them, not with shouting, not with compliments, with silence, with questions that reach places they forgot they could still feel. Because an older woman doesn't fall in love like a 20-something. She no longer believes in promises, but she does get obsessed with mystery, with men who aren't trying to be liked, but who set the pace. And if you don't understand her psychology, if you keep acting like the nice, available guy, you'll be just another one who entertained her, not the one who stayed on her mind. Today, I'm going to reveal the 6 questions that throw an older woman off balance. Questions she's not expecting, and when you ask them, you force her to think about you. The last one is the most powerful, because it doesn't just awaken her desire, it awakens her need to follow you. I'm Celia, and if a woman has ever made you feel like you were too good, this video is... Have you ever wondered why, after all your effort, an older woman just doesn't get hooked on you? You text her, make plans, make her laugh, but something in her stays cold, unmoved, as if nothing you do has any effect. And then you draw the wrong conclusion. It must be the age. Maybe she wants someone younger. Maybe she's done with relationships. No, it's none of that. It's something much simpler and much more brutal. You're trying to impress her. And a man who tries to impress her has already lost. You're at the first key point in this video. And what I'm about to tell you might hurt, but it'll save you. What obsesses an older woman most is wondering why this man isn't trying to impress her. Because she's used to it. Used to everyone trying to win her over, validate her, prove that she's still desirable. But when a man shows up who doesn't play that game, who doesn't try to sell himself, who doesn't flatter her or treat her like a fallen queen, her mind goes into overdrive. A question starts haunting her. Why doesn't he care? Or worse, why do I feel like he does care, but he's not showing it? Picture this. A woman walks into a room with 5 men. 4 of them look at her, stand up, approach her, trying to make her feel like she's still the center of attention. 1 doesn't. He just looks at her, but doesn't move, doesn't change his expression, doesn't force a smile. He simply watches. Not with indifference, but with brutal confidence. That's the one she can't stop thinking about. That's the one who stays in her mind the next day. Because a woman's desire isn't sparked by logic or effort. It's sparked by absence, by tension, by the presence of a man who doesn't react like the others. A man who's not playing to be liked, but to lead. Do you see it now? If you stand in front of an older woman trying to convince her you're a good option, you've already lost. Because feminine desire doesn't respond to arguments. It responds to mystery, to uncertainty, to difference. And if you're there trying to show her you're mature, stable, sensitive, you're acting like just another provider. And she doesn't want a provider, she wants danger. A man who doesn't need to impress her because he knows he can replace her. And that unravels her, it obsesses her. So remember this, when an older woman looks at you with that air of confidence, the one thing that can truly disarm her is not a compliment, not a clever line. It's your strategic indifference. It's that first moment when she expects you to approach, and you don't. You wait, you watch, and then something happens that changes everything. For the first time in a long time, she's the one who wants your attention. And that's when the real game begins. The one only the man who's not trying to please her can win, but the one who knows how to provoke her. And when you get her to start wondering what you see in her, without you saying a word, something much deeper gets triggered. Because it's no longer just about desire, it's about emotional validation, that feeling of standing in front of a man who perceives her, but doesn't define her, who feels her, but doesn't give himself away. And in that moment, without realizing it, she starts seeing herself reflected in the mirror of your mystery. And in that reflection, she discovers something unsettling. She wants you to like her, but she doesn't know if she's managed to pull it off. That's why we've reached the second key point in this video, and it's this question that keeps echoing in her mind when you don't react like the others. What other women have been in his bed? She won't ask it out loud, ever, but she'll think it. She'll watch how you walk, how you speak, how you look at her. And if she senses a calm sexuality in you, a complete absence of need, a certainty in your energy, her mind starts writing stories. Because an older woman may have experience, but she can't stand the idea that you do too, and that you're not flaunting it. She can't bear to imagine that you, the man who doesn't chase her desperately, have touched bodies that surpass hers, and even less that those women didn't leave a mark on you because you don't cling, because you don't break, because you don't give yourself away like a hungry teenager. This isn't just jealousy, it's threat, because she wants to be the only one who leaves a mark on you. She wants to feel like she holds a special place. But when she sees that your voice doesn't shake, that you don't act like an emotionally starved man, she's facing a kind of man who no longer needs experiences, because he's had them. He's lived them. He's processed them. And that puts you, psychologically, in a position of power few men ever reach. The tempered man. The one who doesn't flinch, who doesn't try to impress, who has loved, desired, possessed, and let go. And that, even if you never say a word, is felt. And when she feels it, she gets unsettled. In Stoic terms, this is called sexual ataraxia, serenity in the face of desire, not repression, not abstinence, serenity. The man who's been with many, but doesn't count them, who's known many bodies, but doesn't brag, who no longer acts like a seducer because he has nothing left to prove. And that man, in the eyes of an older woman, is an unbearable enigma, because she can't place him, she can't measure him, she doesn't know if what she's feeling is attraction or rivalry. And that's where you have to hold your ground. Don't deny your past, don't reveal it. Let it vibrate in your silence. Because every time she thinks of you, every time she looks at you with that mix of desire and insecurity, she'll wonder what other women touched you before. Who else gave themselves to the same man who now watches her without need? And that question will drive her wild, because feminine desire isn't born from feeling safe, it's born from feeling replaceable. And if you can make her feel that, without humiliating her, without provoking her, just by being yourself, then you won't be just another guy. You'll be the one she can't forget. You've already seen what happens when you stop trying to impress her, and how her mind kicks into gear when you don't give her certainty. But there's something deeper that starts to unfold when you remain grounded. Internally, she begins to measure her ability to control you, because no matter how sweet she seems, an older woman needs to feel she can dominate a part of you, that she has influence, that if she makes a move, you'll respond, that if she pulls away a little, you'll come closer, and if you don't, something in her ego starts to crack. That's why we've arrived at the third key point in this video, and it's this question she'll never say out loud, but it eats at her from the inside. What part of me can still dominate him? That's the silent test many women throw out without words. They say something with a gentle tone. They poke at you emotionally with a subtle critique. They make a comment that sounds innocent, but it's an emotional trap. And then they watch to see how you react. If you explain yourself, get defensive, get upset, or shift your energy. Because that gives them an internal measure, how much control they have over you. And if they see they can still move you emotionally, their desire drops. Because now they don't see you as that untamable man who ignites them, but as just another guy seeking approval to stay in the game. The strategy here isn't to act indifferent. That's childish. The real strategy is emotional self-mastery. It's showing that you hear her, that you understand, but that you don't react the way she expects. Because a mature man isn't the one who shouts or the one who stays silent. He's the one who, even while feeling, chooses how and when to respond. And that ability, which seems simple, is lethal in terms of attraction, because a woman becomes obsessed with the man she can't manipulate, the one who doesn't justify himself, the one who doesn't seek to be liked, the one who, if something bothers him, says it, but doesn't lose himself in it. Picture this. You're at dinner with her. She makes a comment about you with a teasing tone. Most men would laugh it off to avoid awkwardness. Others would get annoyed. You don't. You just look at her, stay calm, and say, "Funny you'd say that, but I like when you try to provoke me." Period. Nothing more. You don't enter her game, but you don't deny it either. You don't give her the emotional battle she was looking for, and that throws her off, because she tried to control you, and she couldn't. And right then, without realizing it, she starts respecting you in a different way, because now she doesn't see you as the man who reacts, but as the man who chooses. Before we move on to the next points, which get even more intense, I'm going to ask you for something. If what you're hearing is opening your eyes, hit the like button and subscribe. That way, the algorithm keeps helping us awaken more men. And tell me in the comments which country you're watching from, but also write one sentence: "I don't react anymore." Because that's where real change begins. Stick around, because the last lesson will be the one that makes you most uncomfortable. And for that very reason, it's the one you need the most. And when she senses she can't control you, that you don't get thrown off, that you don't hand over the emotional power she's looking for, the next thing she observes isn't your strength, it's your composure. Because there's a difference between resisting a provocation and staying calm when she brings out all her charm. This is where many men fall without realizing it. They think they've got control because they didn't react to the coldness. But then comes the real test, the game of subtle seduction, of ambiguous closeness, of the smile that feels like a promise, but isn't. And if you lose your balance there, you lose everything you had gained. That's why we've reached the fourth key point in this video. Why doesn't he get nervous around me? This is one of the most common mistakes I see in men who are trying to change. They grow stronger, calmer, more grounded, until she shows interest. And then they crumble. They open up emotionally. They become attentive, available, eager to please. And they think that's reciprocation. But it's not. It's poorly managed vulnerability. Because what an older woman really wants to see isn't if you can withstand her coldness. She wants to see if you can stay centered when she sends mixed signals, when she gets close, when she touches your arm, when she speaks to you more intimately. Will you keep your gaze steady or turn into another needy man? The trap is that you think this is progress. Now she likes me, you tell yourself. Now I can show more interest. And without noticing, you become the guy trying to win her attention all over again. Because feminine desire, especially in an experienced woman, doesn't come from you reacting to her charm. It comes from you not reacting, from not losing your tone, your rhythm, your silence, from not changing your voice or your posture just because she leaned in. Because if you unravel over a smile, she no longer sees a man. She sees a boy getting excited over crumbs. In Stoic psychology, this is key. It's not just about resisting pain, it's about resisting manipulative pleasure. Because many times, what looks like openness is actually a test, a check on your consistency. And if you break there, if you shift just because she dropped her guard, your energy says, "Thanks for noticing me. Finally, you gave me a chance." And she, even if she doesn't say it, feels like she's got you, that she can manage you, that you're no longer that unreadable man, that you're no longer that steady center that forced her to prove herself. Do you see it now? It's not about being cold. It's about being unpredictable, about not showing that her charm changes you, about not acting differently when she flirts, because what truly obsesses her isn't that you desire her. It's that you desire her without losing your balance, without shifting your position, without turning into just another guy who melts at a kind word. If you can do that, if you can hold your ground even when she gets close, then yes. Then something happens that she can't help: respect. And where there's respect, desire stays alive, because she feels she still doesn't have you, and she'll want to, not with strategy, with real surrender. And when she realizes she can't shake you, that she couldn't even make you nervous when she spoke to you with tenderness, then she'll do something more dangerous. She'll disappear. Not physically, not completely. She'll disappear emotionally. She'll stop validating you. She'll go quiet. She'll pull back in the most subtle way. And if you're not ready for it, you'll fall into the most humiliating emotional trap, looking for signs that she still cares. That's why we've reached the fifth key point in this video, and it's this question she sends out, wordlessly, with calculated distance. What does he want from me that he still hasn't asked for? This is the exact moment where many men lose their dignity without realizing it. She pulls away, and you start to think the problem is that you haven't given enough. That maybe if you listen more, show up more, do something you didn't before, she'll come back. But she doesn't, because she's not waiting for you to try harder. She's waiting to see if you'll break, if you'll start guessing what she needs, interpreting her silences, begging for her attention. And when you do, she loses the last bit of admiration she had left, because instead of staying on your path, you veered off to chase a ghost. Do you know what you're doing when you ask yourself what she wants from you without her saying it? You're ceasing to be a man. You're abandoning your emotional leadership to become a servant of her voids. And the worst part, she won't even thank you for it, because a woman doesn't respect a man who guesses. She respects the man who stands firm, who says, "This is who I am, this is where I stand, this is how I live. If you're interested, I'm here. If not, keep walking." But that takes strength. It takes the ability to sit with the tension of silence without filling it, to withstand the discomfort of uncertainty without chasing comfort. In practical psychology, this is the moment when emotional asymmetry kicks in. You give more, she gives less. You wait, she drifts. You explain, she stays silent. And every time you do more to understand her, she needs less to forget you. Because desire doesn't come from effort, it comes from value. And a man who bends to every ambiguous gesture of an older woman loses value, loses desire, loses presence. So how do you reverse this? Not with games, not with magic phrases. You reverse it with one decision. Stop interpreting. Stop assuming. Stop asking what she wants, and start asking what you want. And if she doesn't see it, doesn't pursue it, doesn't acknowledge it, then she doesn't belong in your life. Because you're not here to adapt to an absence disguised as mystery. You're here to offer a clear direction, a steady energy, a presence that can't be bought and won't be given away. The shift begins when you stop waiting for something unsaid and start living as if you don't need it. Because at that exact point, when you expect nothing, she starts feeling like she might lose everything. And if she doesn't feel that, then she wasn't worth it. That's the truth, as raw and clear as it gets. And when you stop trying to guess what she wants, when you finally decide to stop interpreting her silences and start moving from your own center, something happens that you often don't expect. She comes back, not with clear words, not with an apology. She comes back with subtle gestures, with questions that seem unimportant, with ambiguous phrases that sound like connection, but are just another test. And if you're not grounded, if you think this is reconciliation, you fall again, because she's not looking for connection, she's looking for emotional control. That's why we've arrived at the sixth and final point of this video, and here is where everything can either change or repeat itself. What does she want from me that she still hasn't asked for? Picture it. One night, after days of distance, she speaks softly. She smiles. She asks how you're doing. And you, half awake, half hopeful, think she's finally coming back. But she's not. She's testing. She's measuring. She wants to know if she still has power over you, if after everything, you're still available. And if you, in that moment, soften, open up, show her you're still there, you lose. Because she wasn't trying to reconnect. She was trying to reassert control, to confirm her emotional hold, to see if she can still touch you without touching you. This is one of the most dangerous moments for a man, because it doesn't feel like betrayal or provocation. It feels like tenderness, like nostalgia, like maybe something's still there. But what's left isn't desire, it's unresolved power, unclosed tension. And if you can't read that, if you fall into the illusion that her approach is genuine, you go right back to being the available man. The one who waits, the one who replies quickly, the one who gets his hopes up over scraps. And right there, again, desire dies. Because a woman doesn't desire the man who's always there. She desires the man who, even when he's there, could still walk away. Visualize it with brutal clarity. You sitting on a couch, she approaches with an excuse, lightly touches your arm, asks something trivial, and you, inside, trembling with hope, thinking, maybe she changed her mind, maybe she sees me again. No, she's just checking if you're still where she left you. And if you don't see it, if you melt from that small touch, she doesn't need anything else. She's got you again. And now, finally, she can walk away in peace. Real change isn't about resisting a breakup. It's about resisting the temptation of emotional reattachment. It's about seeing that false tenderness and staying still. It's about receiving that soft gesture and standing your ground. Because you're no longer here to interpret signals. You're here to live with clarity. And if a woman doesn't give you that, if there's no truth, no direction, then there's nothing. So remember this, not every kind gesture is love. Sometimes it's strategy. Sometimes it's ego. Sometimes it's a need for power. And if you keep falling for it, you'll stay trapped in a story that never ends, but keeps draining you. Because what isn't said should never be assumed, and what isn't offered with clarity doesn't deserve your energy. If you made it this far, it's not a coincidence. Not everyone can handle hearing the unfiltered truth. Not everyone stays until the end when the message doesn't comfort, but shakes you. But you did. You chose to face what most people would rather ignore. And that already sets you apart. Because the man who begins to truly understand how a woman's desire works stops being used, stops being predictable, and starts becoming unforgettable. Today I didn't give you pretty phrases. I showed you the questions an older woman won't say out loud, but can't stop asking when she's in front of a man who doesn't bend. Because if you learn not to impress her, not to explain yourself, not to lose your balance when she gets close, she won't be able to forget you. She won't know why, but she'll need to come back. And you, if you're truly awake, will decide whether you let her back in, or if she's no longer enough. I want you to comment below with one sentence, I don't explain myself anymore, and tell me which country you're watching from, because this community is growing and it's not a trend. It's because there are men around the world who are done living like shadows and are starting to live as whole men. I'm Celia, a woman, psychologist, therapist, and the voice this channel has chosen to speak to you without sugarcoating. This is House of Wisdom. We're not here to comfort you. We're here to help you reclaim the power you gave away without even realizing it. Subscribe right now, because if this content moved you, the ones coming next will transform you. And share this with that friend who still believes being nice is enough. Maybe what you just heard is exactly what he needs to wake up. Don't leave just yet. Watch the videos that are about to pop up on the screen. Pick the one that makes you the most uncomfortable, because right there, in what you resist the most, is what you most need to see.